Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 2 of the Duopreneurs Show. We are glad you all are joining us. As you all know, for these first couple episodes, I'll kind of reintroduce ourselves very briefly, just in case you're joining us anew. I am Trey Goff, co-founder and CEO of Learn Arena. And JC, you want to give a one-sentence introduction, and then we'll dive in?
JC Hyatt, just some guy.
Just some guy that is a code guru, a code wizard. He's a ninja in the VS Code. Alrighty, so we have made some significant progress with the project this week. We'll go over some of those now. So first, of course, we're kind of building the foundations, the infrastructure of what will become the Duopreneurs brand. So we have created the YouTube channel, the links to which will be in the bio. We'll have two channels. One of them will be the produced, kind of edited episodes like this, where we have a kind of, not script, but more of an agenda we follow. They're very structured. And the other will be full uploads of our live streams. So we are going to be, and on that point, we're going to be live streaming pretty much daily. We do it at fairly sporadic times. We are not ready yet to commit to like doing this at the exact same specific time every week. However, we will commit to, and we would love for all of you, whoever sees this, to join us. Every Monday night between roughly 8 and 9 p.m. Central is when we'll be starting. We'll go for at least an hour on those nights so you can see us working in action. But as I said, go follow the Twitch channel, and you can get a notification if you follow us there every time we go live, so you can see us as we work. We also created our Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. So we've captured the namespace across all of the social channels, which was one of our main goals this week. We started using a new service for recording these episodes and for doing the live streams called Riverside. It's riverside.fm if you want to check it out for yourself. Makes the process incredibly painless and easy of actually live streaming and recording and streaming to different streaming services simultaneously.
But you can't change your email address
Oh
unless you
yeah,
email their support staff and provide a signed copy of a signed like official document with your company letterhead.
which is absolutely insane. I mean, so this is a bit of a tangent. Maybe me and JC will talk about this one day. But there's this whole thing referred to as dark UI that is like taking over all of software. That just makes it really painful to do anything other than exactly what they want, and we both hate it. Maybe we'll talk about dark UI one day. So yeah, you can find us on all socials at Duopreneurs or Duopreneurs Show, one of the two. Be very easy to find. And on that topic, like I said, the very first episode has already gone live. So if you want to understand at a high level, I'm not going to go over it now because we already did, what this show is about, what this channel is about, what we'll be streaming, and why we're doing it, then go watch that episode and listen, then come back to this one. Now, on actual tangible progress we made as well on building the Duopreneurs Show itself, I spent more hours than I meant to this week learning how to use Premiere Pro. So we thought initially that perhaps we could find some other kind of for dummies software that we could use to edit and combine these and to do the streams, and that was not the case. Turns out there is no getting around just learning how to edit video using something like Premiere Pro. We both happen to have Premiere Pro, and it's what everyone recommends, so that's what we're using. We'll have in both on the Clips channel, and then editing a video right now to upload on the main channel, going over what we learned in the last 2 weeks about how to use Premiere, but we're good enough at it now to be able to edit and cut these episodes that you're going to see as soon as I nail down exactly how to do the split screen effects and stuff like that. So coming soon. I'm working on that today and tomorrow. And then we'll after that, we'll have nailed down our video production process and be able to use that to have a much more steady stream of content. Everything will be much more predictable. And then last but not least, and perhaps most important, in fact, on the Duopreneurs update, we have received from a freelancer the final designs for our logo. So drum roll, please. This is what it looks like. Perfect. We discovered the soundboard, guys, so get ready for more of this. So this is our logo. This is what we're going to run with for now. Let me talk about this briefly, and I'll let JC really accentuate the point because he really drove this home with me in a very poignant way as well. It can be easy to get sucked into for aesthetic things like this, trying to make it perfect. And you cannot do that and maintain execution speed when you're working on something as a solopreneur or a duopreneur like us. Execution speed is the most important priority. Otherwise, you lose momentum and you won't make forward progress. So this logo is not perfect, but it is good enough. It gets the name across very clearly. The glitch effect indicates that there's some sort of technology angle here, almost like kind of a cyberpunk look and feel, which is what I was going for. And the icon on the left signifies the partnership form of what it is that we're doing, showing that we are two different people coming together to synergize to create a more complete whole and to create um, individual products together. So it gets the basic idea in iconography and in text across. Is it perfect? No, but is it good enough? Yes. And JC, do you want to talk a little bit about that kind of philosophy of, and we'll close the episode with going into more detail on this, but in the context of this logo, talk about a little bit about how this is and why this is perhaps good enough and not perfect.
Uh, it's good enough because it's something, and um, you could have argued that we could have just whipped up something, I guess. But I like having at least having somebody who's trained to take a stab at it. I don't like this like pretty much at all, but I also don't care like in because this is not at all what's important about what we're trying to do right now, especially this early on, and our early adopters of people who are going to be early listeners are not going to not listen to us over a logo, most likely. I mean, maybe somebody out there, but I think they're going to tune in because we have like entertaining and valuable information, and we're doing something unique.
That's exactly right. And let me put this out there as well. If any of you are graphic designers who are watching this and you see this logo and you know what we're about after you watch the first episode, you say, I could do way better than that. Do it. We'll happily pay you for it. We paid $100 for this. I think it was 120 after like the Fiverr fees and stuff, but to the actual person it was $100. So we will happily pay $100 to any graphic designer who's watching this. If you think you can do better and we like what you output, send it to us. We'd be more than happy to take a look at it and use it. But for now, this is what we're going with. All right. JC, you want to talk about, now we'll transition. So again, remember we have the Duopreneurs project as a whole, and what Duopreneurs does is we build individual small software-based businesses. The very first product that we're building is what we're calling the based quotes bot. Just a much better motivational quote bot than those that are out there on the market right now to integrate with Slack, Discord, whatever else you may want to integrate a quote bot with. So JC, you want to talk about progress we made on that?
Yeah. So I know Trey worked with some people like in our stream, one or two of the nights this week that we streamed, and came up with some more quotes, kind of crowdsourced some more ideas for quotes. We got the initial repost set up this week. We did all this on stream, so if you want to see this, all this will be live on our second channel, Duopreneurs Clips. We got we got Contentful set up, which is a CMS, so that Trey or I, but Trey if he wants to add quotes doesn't have to touch anything related to code. We don't have to do any code deploys, and we also like don't have to necessarily maintain something in a spreadsheet, and because that would either we make the spreadsheet an API, or which we could do, or you end up exporting the spreadsheet to a CSV over and over again to like import it into a database and stuff like that. So I figured we would just try Contentful because I've used it before, but you can use kind of any headless CMS out there. So if especially if you're not a developer and you're kind of looking for ways to manage some of your content, you might look into a CMS or a headless CMS in this case. I'm not going to go into the differences between a headless CMS and CMS, but any developer out there worth their salt on the front end will know what a headless CMS is. The next thing we did was we set up a second kind of, or I guess a database. So Contentful will store our quotes, and then those quotes will actually be synced to a database. And this technology is called Redis. We're using a company called Upstash to host that database. If you're not technical, all you really need to know is that's going to allow us to serve up the quotes much more efficiently. And Redis is a type of database that is, it's not technically a database, but it's also kind of a database. I'm not going to get into that either. But it is, if you take any one thing away from what Redis is, it's going to, it's really good for like read intensive applications. Especially when we're just kind of sending simple strings like we're going to be doing. We're just sending down some quotes and an author and stuff. There's not like a ton of relational data going on or anything like that. So we can actually basically use Contentful as our database and then just load our quotes, kind of hashes of our quotes into Redis so we get really fast reads. Because if we're going to have bots in Discord, Slack, whatever, we want to be able to kind of serve who knows how many reads without running up a huge bill on Contentful. And Redis will most likely also be a little bit faster than Contentful. So that's what we did so far. We've got kind of Contentful wired up to Redis. I'm still in the middle of like where I left off in the last stream was kind of making sure that stuff syncs ongoing every time there's a change in Contentful. So we'll be streaming that this coming week, setting up some webhooks so that Contentful will trigger a new deployment of our website, which will also kind of resync those quotes to the Redis database.
Awesome. Perfect. Thank you, JC. All right, we got 2 more things on the docket for you guys. One I want to go over. This will be a recurring segment. We will call this the AI challenge. So I am an AI maxi. I love everything that's going on in the AI space right now, and I think it'll be potentially transformative for increasing human productivity, even just the current models, assuming that we're in an S-curve situation instead of an exponential growth curve, which is an ongoing debate in the AI world in and of itself. I think the S-curve is probably right. All I mean by that, what the takeaway from that is that AI will probably plateau for another little while until there's another technical breakthrough. We find a new way to do this besides transformer models. But the currently existing transformer models are incredibly powerful. So every week, I'll try to do something for the project with them and see if it'll work. And every time JC takes the opposite side and says it's not going to work because AI is dumb, because JC does not like AI. So this week I had, because this is the first week we're doing it, I'll go over a few things. First, and I've already edited this video, we just need to upload it. I tried for probably 45 minutes to use the combination of GPT-4, Midjourney, and Stable Diffusion to generate our logo. Complete and utter failure. Now, this might have been user error because I couldn't prompt engineer it well, but even if that's the case, that's still kind of an indictment of AI. It's not easy enough to use, but I consider myself decent at it. I've used it many times to generate, especially on the image gen side, to generate stuff for Learn Arena that worked and was deployable, and this just utterly failed because AI still is terrible at handling letters, which is absolutely hilarious to me. But the AI gen stuff, the image gen stuff, just does not handle letters very well. So the AI scoreboard right now for JC is currently 4 points for JC and 0 for me, meaning I have yet to do anything successfully with AI. Another thing I tried to do was, then this was a long shot. I didn't think this would work anyway, but I gave it a shot. Just try to use GPT-4 alone to build the base quotes bot in like 30 minutes, like to get it to generate the code for me, tell me what to do, etc. Did not work at all. I mean, at all. It just told me some steps to take, like, hey, you should generate a database instance in MySQL, and then you should hook that up to an API of some sort, and you should build a website too, and you should probably build a website in React. And I was like, okay, cool. I don't know how to do any of that, GPT. So this was no help at all. It was just not in the level of detail I needed. And I tried to get it to tell me the level of detail I needed, and it just like I could not get it to tell me what we wanted it to do. And then the last fail, probably the most entertaining, which one I saved it for last. There's this new tool called AutoGPT. Okay, and what it does is it takes the GPT models and gives them long-term memory, the ability to browse the web, and the ability to read and write to files. So it can do stuff for you, like take actions. And you're supposed to be able to just give it some goals. It takes those goals and then uses them to generate whatever it is you're asking it to do, basically. Well, me and JC both tried to do this. We tried to do it first on a TypeScript form of AutoGPT. Failed miserably. The thing just didn't want. It didn't. I don't know if it didn't like our goal or something. It just flat refused. So we tried to use the Python version of AutoGPT, and it got stuck in a recursive loop where it just kept analyzing the goal, analyzing what next action it should take, telling itself it shouldn't take an action, reanalyzing the goal, analyzing what action it should take, deciding it shouldn't take any action. And we just got stuck there with like 3 or 4 different attempts. So the AI scoreboard is not too good right now. JC, do you have anything to add or to gloat in your current domination of the scoreboard?
I'm not completely anti AI for the record. I just think the hype is like it's way overhyped. I think it's just like the new crypto right now. Just kind of there's some really good stuff going on there, but I'm tired of seeing Twitter threads about it from people who don't actually know what they're talking about. The The Auto GPT stuff could have been us. Um, we, to be fair, only gave it like an hour and didn't really like give it any. In my opinion, it shouldn't take more than an hour to get up and going. But it also was a brand new thing, so they probably had some bugs. I got it on my list to like restream, trying to get it going again. I just need to like be able to carve out like a few hours to like account for it's new. We might run into some bugs and stuff like that. It looks really interesting. I do want to play with it. But yeah, I'm just not I'm not as hyped up about AI as everybody seems to be right now. I still think it's a ways off from um, you know taking all our jobs and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think the scoreboard reflects that you're probably right now, unfortunately. But I'm going to make a comeback. You just wait. I'm going to make a comeback. Awesome. So let's conclude with something that another recurring segment we'll be doing. You'll find in every episode, which is kind of the one thing we want you to take away from the work we did this week, that you can apply yourself as you and any of you out there go on your own entrepreneurial and solopreneur or duopreneur journeys. And this week, it really was all about balancing execution speed with quality, and how to kind of, and it's more of an art than a science, how to balance those two things. So JC, I want you to kind of talk about this because you're more eloquent on this point than I am, and you're really good at it.
Yeah, I say especially early on, um, just be absolutely merciless about what value are you actually providing to your audience, your users, and more specifically, what value are you providing to your early adopters, and anything that doesn't provide a very measurable impact on that value, or block that value from getting deployed and actually in the hands of your users, just kill it. Like or if it's something like a logo that's like, okay, we need to have a logo. Like, I mean, it could be argued that we didn't, but like, let's at least have a logo just to look like we actually are trying, to some degree. But that logo, like I said earlier, is not going to make or break the early adopters. Like, we've got one guy who's been at every single stream that we've done. He even came when I did like the early morning stream yesterday and watched me code for an hour. And he probably doesn't care if we have a logo or not. So shout out to Baldwin. But yeah, mercilessly sacrifice all the things that don't provide, that don't like nurture and move the needle forward on that core value that you're providing to your early adopters when you're getting started.
Absolutely. I have nothing extra to add there, JC. I think you nailed that perfectly. You have to try to maintain. I guess the different perspective I'll put on it very briefly is all about momentum, right? So, much like many things in life, if you start losing momentum on a project, it's harder to restart. It's almost like projects have an inertia the same way physical objects do, right? And in physics, it takes a lot more energy to get an increase in objects inertia than to maintain said inertia. I mean, that's what inertia is all about. So, keeping that momentum up is absolutely critical. Again, a body at rest stays at rest, and a body in motion tends to stay at motion, all else being equal. And what can get in the way of that momentum is trying to be a perfectionist. So the logo is a good example, right? We could have spent another 6 hours, literally, going back and forth with the designer, telling her this and that feedback, doing different iterations, different concepts, different directions with the logo. And maybe it would have been 10% better, but at the cost of 6 hours of lost productivity. And when you're working on a solopreneur side project like this, when you still have a full-time job, that's basically a full week's worth of work, completely gone, all because you wanted the logo to just be absolutely perfect. And you have, at that point, lost all momentum on your actual project, your actual core value proposition. So it's absolutely critical to try to maintain momentum at the cost of almost all else, actually, because that momentum allows you to get to users faster, to get to revenue faster, to iterate faster, and moving faster is the name of the game in the entrepreneurial space. So with that, that will conclude this week's episode. JC, do you have anything else to add?
Nope, good on this end.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we will be back next week with episode 3. Thank you so much.